Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown. My name is Adam Glyn. We got a show for you today. It's the Raw Rundown. I actually didn't know if we were going to have a lot of stories this week because Super Bowl week is almost like a holiday week because the news cycle is so surrounded after everything that happens around the Super Bowl that it sort of washes out the rest of the week. In fact, I had a celebrity. Not a big list, not a list, B list, not even a C list. Celebrity.
Are they even a celeb?
They're a celeb. They're a celebrity. Reach out to me and say, "Hey, I got this story that I need out in the news." And I said, "Listen, there's not enough people out there that there's not enough. No one's going to read it. A, B, no one wants to write about it because they're so busy chasing Super Bowl stories that there's no reason to kind of do this story." And I haven't actually talked to him. I got to call him up, but yeah, it's not like a crazy. It is a news story ish, but a lot of times people give me stories, celebrities, and they're like, oh, they're pissed off at someone, and they say we want to sue them, and I always say, well, then sue them because I can't use the outlet, whatever outlet I kind of go to use as the kind of aggressor. You need to, if you're going to sue them. Then that becomes a story. You can't see we're looking into lawsuit options. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like sue them and then it becomes a story. Like
exactly.
It can't, I want to. Okay, well, I can't put that. So-and-so wants to sue someone else. That's not a story. But if you filed the paperwork, then that's a story. So go do it.
Exactly.
Let me know.
So the suit, I don't want to get into the details of it. It's not like anything too crazy. I'm not covering any news by any means. And again, it's not like a huge celebrity. But I said to him, like, I have to convince him, like, the story is you sue them. If you're saying you're looking into lawsuit options, you can't use the outlet as sort of like as a bully into getting what you want from the person or whatever owes you something. Anyway,
scare them into it.
Today is our Raw Rundown. We give you the top 10 stories of the week. How do we pick the top 10 stories? It goes by Google search. It goes by data. And lastly, it goes by our personal opinions. But ultimately, it comes down to the data, what people are clicking on. Before we get to that, Dax, how are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. I can't complain. A little tired this morning, but I'm pushing through. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you guys are
Adam's my Valentine today. I'm spending more time with him than my wife at this point.
Yeah. Well, to be specific, you asked me, will I be your Valentine, yes or no? I didn't answer yet, so I'm still thinking about it.
I passed you the note, and then I said circle yes or no.
yeah, I love it. Make sure you guys join our private Facebook group, Off the Record. We have two Facebook groups, which we have to kind of put that out there. We have a regular one that's open that we kind of, how would you explain the regular one compared to the private one, Dax?
That one is just like a feed of, hey, this episode's posted, so just letting you know. And I think that one has way more followers than our private Facebook group does. Our private Facebook group is for people who want to really chat with us, like on a different level. Like we interact, we see your guys' posts, we read what you guys are interested in. We have an Ask Us Anything episode coming up next week. Well, I think next week, unless some crazy news story breaks. And it's really just answering whatever you guys want to know or talk about it. That's what we do in there.
Yeah.
So go to HollywoodRaw.com and that's where you can find the link to it.
We have to make it private because some stuff we get into gets a little bit dirty, whereas it puts us in a sticky situation. So for legal reasons, we have to have a private because we have to say this is our community.
And we do, and I would say we break a lot of stories in there before it like goes public too. Like, we'll say, hey, this is about to happen. And then, 2 hours later, the news actually breaks on a big website. So we keep it to you guys first.
We do. Dax, do you have a review or do you want to just get right into it?
No, I got one. All right. This one comes from RHE Beep and says, this is so overdue. 5 stars. Just wanted to say, I love your podcast, especially midweek episodes. You talk to people I wonder about. Thanks for podcasting. Love your banter. And my fiance even listens. He claims to be uninterested. No, we love it. It's so funny how many comments we get like that. Like, love your podcast. And my husband actually checks it out. Oh, my boyfriend listens, but like pretends not to listen, but really loves it. So shout out to all those boyfriends and spouses out there that are also listening.
Yeah. I think based on 25% of our audience is is men.
Men who are just checking out the podcast with their significant other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're catering towards. Which, it's so weird. Like, I just do me. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to cater to women. It's just that's what the podcast, that's the audience, I guess. And I'm not saying not cater to them. It's just like I'm just trying to be my authentic self.
But we do have a lot of
And
men who listen, though. In reality, we do have a lot of men who listen to the podcast who really
Yeah.
enjoy it. We get lots of comments from everyone. So
it's fun. It's high school. All right, let's get into the Royal Rundown, starting Dax with number 10.
Number 10, O.J. Simpson's estate is auctioning off. Well, at least it is set to be auctioning off a bunch of stuff from inside the home where he died. And this is, this has been kind of talked about, but it looks like it is about to actually happen on March 12th and March 29th. Malcolm Lavergue, I think is how you say it, or Lavergan, I don't know. He's a special administrator to OJ's estate, and his lawyers are proposing the auction to happen, towards the end of mid-March and towards the end of March, and it's going to go through Golden Auctions LLC, and this is all according to a new legal filing. It can still be objected by Simpson's children before February 26th, but the clock is ticking away, and there's going to be just a ton of things that they're auctioning off. I guess there's like photos of him with political leaders like Bill Clinton and Henry Kissinger, and there's like a painting of OJ by Andy Warhol. There's a Heisman USC poster signed by Simpson, pictures of Simpson with from his movie like Naked Gun and the Cassandra Crossing. So there's a lot of just interesting thing. He's got a big porn stash from when he was in prison that will be up for auction. So there's just like a lot of random things. I guess there's like a memoir, some handwritten grievances, power of attorney papers, just a bunch of stuff, and including the bed in which he died in. It will also probably be in there. So, and there's some weirdos out there that like that kind of crap, dude. I can see that going to, I don't know, like Zach Baggins. He likes weird shit like that. Like, this is where someone died. This is a ghost thing, or even just some kind of spooky place where they just want to say this is the bed that that OJ died in.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit. The problem is for me, you'd have to really have, I don't have money, but you'd have to have a lot of extra cash laying around. But
Yeah.
but the value, it's hard for me to see if any of that value will go up because there's so much of it that I feel like there's it's more for your own personal use. Will there be some sort of, will it gain value later on down the road? I don't know.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's
yeah.
There's so many.
I don't think it
if
gains
it was like
value.
one or two things, it'd be cool. But when you have so many of them, it's like,
I think you have to put it in one of those weird death museums where like, this is the, I don't know, like gravy boat that was found with Whitney Houston in her bathtub, and this is the bed that OJ died in. Like, weird people like that kind of crap.
Yeah, even his autograph, believe it or not, as good of a football player he was, as significant and wild regarding the murder, the case, and everything like that, his autograph value is still not worth that much. It's just because he signed so many things. I mean, that's how he was making money during, that's how he made money for the longest period of time that nobody knew. He was getting paid in cash because any money he made, he had to give to the Goldman family. So if he got cash, he didn't have to claim any of that money. So he made money just on rich people paying him to play golf. So, I looked into it, and I'm obsessed with OJ, the whole trial and everything. I think it's just fascinating to me. With that said, I just don't know if there's much value to the items.
Gotcha.
It's a cool talking piece. Cool to have around the house, but does it gain? Yeah. I don't know. All right, Dax, number 9.
R. Kelly, his appeal went down in flames. He is staying behind bars. He had this whole appeal that he was trying to get done, and he lost. So basically, he lost his appeal across the board on his sex trafficking conviction. But the judge does think that he was ordered to pay way too much for a name brand herpes medication to one of his victims. So, he argued that his appeal with the U.S. Courts of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York, there was insufficient evidence. Certain jurors should have not been impaneled. The counsel was ineffective while questioning potential jurors, along all kinds of other things. And the judge was like, yeah, no, everything is sticking. I think he has like a 30-year prison sentence for everything that went down. But I can tell you the judge was going through the whole thing and said, I don't really like that he is forced to pay the victim's expensive herpes meds, and that there's an inflated cost of this herpes medication because they essentially want the name brand Valtrex rather than the less costly generic version. So R. Kelly was ordered to pay $270,000 for a lifetime supply of Valtrex, which apparently costs $421 for a 30-day supply.
Wow.
And they're like, well, you could get the name brand one for $15 for a 30-day supply. So that would only be $9,000 for her lifetime versus $270,000. I'm like, really? This is what we are focusing on? Seems a little crazy. But nevertheless, he is not getting out anytime soon. It is a bad situation that he has put himself into, and he's probably regretting all the dumb shit he did over the years.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any judge or any board that's going to let him out. It becomes too public of a situation.
He wants it to go to the Supreme Court. I know that they had turned him down once before, but he really wants to go to the Supreme Court with all this.
Do you think that's going to make a difference?
No.
I just don't think anybody, when it becomes so public, I don't think anybody needs that backlash with what's going on in the world today. They're like, this was your sentence. You're going to kind of sit in it. So we're not going to.
You made your own bed, bro.
Yeah. All right, Dax. Number 8.
Pete Davidson looking completely different these days. He burned off almost 200 tattoos. He's talked about it a couple times. He went on the Tonight Show last month, talked about how going through this process is really, really painful. He just said, look, I have a lot of dumb tattoos on my body. I don't know why I did them. So I'm having to go through this burning, lasering off where you literally burn off a layer of skin. Then it takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to heal. And then you have to go and do it all over again, like 9 times. And so he did this this reveal where he's promoting like a clothing line called Reformation, and he did a bunch of photos with them where he's in like a white shirt or t-shirt, white underwear. Dude, he's got no tattoos anymore. And you know what he looked like before. I wish I could show you guys these photos on YouTube, but I don't need a lawsuit on stealing someone's photos. But nevertheless, he looks like he never got tattoos. It's kind of wild to see his body blank again.
Yeah, I mean, he looks good without tattoos. He looks a lot. I mean, I think his body looks better without tattoos.
Really stupid ones. Like
he had some pretty
really
gnarly ones. I mean, that just
remember that shark that was like on his left, or what was it? It was like
it was
left
a color.
neck.
Yeah, everything else was like regular ink, but that was the one that had color in it.
Well, he had red, like he had mostly black tattoos and then just these random red ones. I mean, he literally looked like a doodle book. And I think he then finally realized this doesn't look good. This is not what I want. But to go through the process, he said it's more painful than actually getting the tattoos the first time. So I'm like, think about how much pain this man has gone through to get tattoos and then to get them all removed.
You wonder what it would, guys like Bieber or random other celebrities, if they got rid of their tattoos, how they would look. It might be a big thing where people are, after seeing how good he looks without tattoos, people might start getting rid of more of their tattoos. Who knows? It might become a new trend. He does look great. Based on the story, he seems like he's in good spirits. I saw him last week at Super Bowl week. I talked to him.
Did you notice that he was tattooless at the Super Bowl, or did he have like long sleeves on?
Long sleeves, covered up. I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't looking for him either, so unless I was looking for it. But yeah, he looked good.
It's pretty wild. I'm telling you. Guys, go check out Reformation's Instagram page. You'll see him.
He looks like a legit model now because he's tall and he's lanky. It's like, oh, he doesn't look like Pete Davidson. He looks like a model. Yeah, I think he's going to be back on the prowl soon based on his new look. Did speak to him. I didn't speak to him on camera. You know what's weird? I'll say it. Yeah, he gave me his new number. I have like 5 Pete Davidson numbers. And I got his and it's like Pete Davidson 1, Pete Davidson 2. He gave me his new number. Then I texted him. I was like, dude, great seeing you, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't text me back. Whap, whap.
Well, because he
Poor
has a
Adam.
new number since then.
Yeah, exactly. Story of my life. All right, Dax number. And you know what? He put his phone number in my phone, so maybe he put a wrong number just in case. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, the old wrong number trick. Dax number 7.
Twitch's family taking legal action against his widow, Allison Hawker. If you remember, she released a book, and it has caused a lot of drama within the family, detailing really intimate parts about their life and revealing a possible drug addiction, also revealing information about a potentially that he was sexually abused by a male figure, and that he alluded to that in some of his journals. His mom really just upset and saying, Allison, you need to stop. You're making all these shocking allegations against my son, and I need you to stop. So she basically went off on IG blasting Allison, saying that she is quote unquote misleading and hurtful, claiming the new books about her son's life and death, that she can't even focus on healing because she's got to protect his name and legacy and defend his honor. But now the whole Boss family is coming together with a statement backing Connie, slamming Allison for her disrespectful and evasive actions since Stephen's passing, and calling a lot of the things in the book misleading and unproven accounts, and that the inconsistencies in her book are outrageous. So they've got a lot of questions they need to answer. So they're getting legal counsel to dig into the situation. They've started a GoFundMe page for donations, which will go towards covering legal fees related to the cost. So yeah, I mean, it really is kind of hurtful to his reputation, but it's also potentially her truth. And she's in a position that, you know, she married him, and she's the one that can speak up, I guess.
Yeah.
Whether or not the family wants to hear it, maybe they didn't realize what he was like behind closed doors. I don't know.
That is true. I wonder if there was tension before he passed away, if she was actually getting along with the family. Yeah, I'm just curious of that. Whose side are you on here?
The thing is, I don't think, by how Allison has spoken up, it seems like this was a side of him that she didn't even know about, and she has now been finding out more and more. So I can understand if this is hard for families to process, of like, you think your son is one way and you find out maybe that was not the case. That's hard. That's a hard thing to swallow, whether or not you like it or not. You know, I think that the hurt probably comes from, why are you airing this out to the world? Like, even if he wasn't the person we all thought he was, why air it out to the world?
Yeah, but do you also ask or let the family know, hey, here's what I'm planning to do, and there's got to be a reason behind it? Is it a financial thing, whatnot? Like, I think there should be a conversation with the family before something like that comes out, or because it hits so close to home. It's hurtful. It's hurtful to the family's name.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it's a conversation to have with the family before you do this. Was there that conversation? We don't know.
I'm going to say they're not in a good spot, or were in a good spot either.
And then you got to think of the children. You know, now the children are involved with this. There is children involved. The children are going to have a unique relationship with their other side, their father's family.
Or even the memory of their father will also now be tainted a lot more.
I don't know if there is an answer to that, but I do think there should have been a conversation with the families, both families, how they want to kind of move on with it. And do it. Dax number 6.
Sean Combs, Diddy, he is now suing NBC and Peacock for $100 million over that whole making of a Bad Boy documentary. Clearly, he was pissed over that. And
when I read this story, I actually think he has a case here.
Yeah?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds they made it. I mean,
his reputation is already in the trash, so I don't know how much worse NBC made it, but it's a defamation lawsuit. They filed it on Wednesday, and basically Combs' attorney, Erica Wolf, addressed the lawsuit, which she claims that the Peacock documentary was in really bad taste. She said, in making and broadcasting these falsehoods, among others, the company seeks only to capitalize on the public's appetite for a scandal without any regard for the truth and to the expense of Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. Mr. Combs brings his lawsuit to hold them accountable for the extraordinary damage their reckless statements have caused. And then This was all filed in the Supreme Court in New York State, and this is the latest chapter in the ongoing saga of the legal challenges that he is facing. So I get it, because you're also swaying public opinion by doing something like this. Like, you don't know if the jurors are going to have a chance to see this before they then go and have to watch his whole court case go down. So I can see why they're upset, but I can also understand why Peacock would have done a show like this.
See, listen, I'm not pro P. Diddy at all. With that said, Diddy's got to make some money to pay for these lawyers, and he's got nothing to lose. And the lawyers feel like,
The
hey,
dude has so much money; he doesn't need to make money. He's a billionaire. He's gonna run
spent a lot
through
of
a lot of
money.
his money, but
Exactly. And you know what? If this covers a few, he's got nothing to lose. You might as well throw some. And I don't think he's going to get $100 million, but if he gets a few bucks and the lawyers make a few bucks,
it
I
does
think
make me
there is
want to
a case.
go. It does make me want
I
to go
don't feel
watch
bad
the
for him.
show.
I know.
I'm like,
worry.
ooh, if it's that bad, I probably should watch it.
I don't feel bad for him, but yet again, Diddy is still innocent right now. He's innocent until proven guilty. I'm not pro. This is not being pro Diddy. He has not been in court yet. He is in prison right now, but he hasn't been sentenced. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with Diddy.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out all the details. There's a lot of allegations, tons of allegations, but in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. Come at me, bro. Number 5.
Come
on. Number 5.
Teddy Mellencamp revealing that she has multiple brain tumors, and
this is so sad. Yeah,
she's going to be undergoing surgery for these like debilitating symptoms. So she broke this news on Instagram. You know, she has dealt with a lot of cancer issues in the past, a lot of it melanoma. We've seen the big scar that she had to get on her back. She had like over 20 surgeries just for melanoma over the years, and now this is the latest thing. So she said, for the last several weeks, I've been dealing with severe and debilitating headaches. Yesterday, the pain was unbearable and required hospitalization. And she said that after a CT scan and MRI, doctors found multiple tumors on my brain, which they believe have been growing for at least 6 months. 2 of the tumors will be surgically removed today. The remaining smaller tumor will be dealt with via radiation at a later date. She then went on to say, I'm blessed to be surrounded by my children, family, friends, doctors, nurses, and surgeons who are doing everything possible to get me back into better health. She also then posted photos of her in the hospital bed. They've shaved her head. She's gotten very, very short hair. She's got all these little they look like little suction cups across her forehead and her temples, where I'm guessing they're, hooking her up for monitoring. But very scary, man. Opening up your head is, I got to imagine, one of the scariest things a person can do, because you touch the wrong part in the brain and they're a different person,
Yeah, it's very wild. It seems like she's in good spirits because, like you said, she shared a photo of her with her head shaved, and she wrote down her Instagram story, "My best look." So she's trying to keep it light during a serious thing. Last night I was watching Watch What Happens Live. Andy Cohen gave a mazel to her, and seems like a lot of the housewife community has reached out and kind of saying, sending her best wishes and looking for a speedy recovery. But it is serious stuff. So yeah, it's tough. Dax, number 4.
James Franco and Seth Rogen, clearly not friends anymore, but now Seth Rogen is reacting to James Franco kind of revealing the end of their friendship. And, Seth hasn't really talked about it. It's been brought up a couple times in interviews. He really hasn't said too much, but Franco had basically spilled the beans on the current status of the relationship in an October interview with Variety. He said, no, I haven't talked to Seth. I love Seth. We had 20 great years together, but I guess it's over, and it's not for lack of trying. I've told him how much he meant to me, and it sounds like Seth is the one that really just doesn't want to have the friendship. So Seth did a new interview with Esquire. He did like a whole profile on Tuesday, and he was asked how he felt to have something so personal become public. And the interviewer, Dave Holmes, you know him from like MTV days and stuff, noted that it was a long shot, but basically Seth was like, listen, I'm not surprised about getting the question. I'm just not happy about it. And he said, honestly, I absorb so little media that it really wasn't on my radar. He said, but that's all I want to say about it. Seth Rogen comes across as kind of just a dick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know him
Well,
personally, but I just feel like every time I see him in like interviews and stuff, I'm like, why does he seem so like opposite of how I picture him? Because he comes across as like this super funny, goofy guy. But there's so many times that I get this like, I don't know, picture of him just not being fun and cool.
yeah, I mean, so I'm assuming the relationship kind of came to a halt back in 2018. Franco faced allegations of sexual misconduct, which were leveled at him by several students from his former acting school. Franco's former pupils accused the actor of intimidating them into sexual situations. Franco has denied the claims and in 2021 settled a lawsuit brought to them against him by the accusers. So months later, Rogen stated that he regretted comments he made in 2018, shortly after the allegations of Franco surfaced, that he would work with his friend and frequent co-star again. So I have to imagine that whole uh,
He must have got a lot of
storyline.
shit for saying that he would work with him again. And then he just basically closed the door on the friendship.
Yeah, weird. And I guess Rogan, who's a very private guy, is like, I just don't want to get into it. Which I could also understand. It's like, it's not my business, and he just doesn't want to get into it. But again, of course, that's going to make headlines because these guys have worked together in movies and had this friendship relationship work. So in numerous of
I mean,
projects,
they were literally the best of friends, and
yeah,
then it all crumbled, and I don't know, weird.
very weird, very sad, very odd. Dax number 3.
All right, number 3, got to get into Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Number 1, there is this clip that has come out that is getting a lot of attention right now, and it basically goes back to this appearance that she had in the Forbes Power Women's Summit back in 2022, where it's drawing a lot of controversy because she basically said, look, I'm an actress who presents myself as a Hollywood actress, but once I get the role, I like to like assume a lot of creative control over the projects. And she goes, I don't want to just sit back and be an actress. It's not fulfilling enough. I also want to have a greater role in shaping the story behind what's really going on and not just deliver lines. So the quote basically said, I also knew that it wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, the costume design, creating the character. I want more. So when I was in meetings, I was like, I'm just there to be an actor and I'm here to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I needed to have the authorship to feel fulfilled. And then I feel for them. I felt like it's a rug pull and that you're trying to insert yourself in something we didn't hire you for. So a lot of people are taking what she said during this old interview and going, well, here you go. This was what she did once again for It Ends With Us. She went in just to be the actress and then wanted full control over the movie. And no wonder Justin Baldoni pushed back so hard and like was trying to play well or play nice, but this is just her MO. She keeps doing it over and over and over again. And I think it's exposing a different side of Blake Lively that maybe people really didn't know about or haven't seen until this point.
Yeah, I think this doesn't help out Blake Lively. Crazy they were able to pull this clip, and I think it honestly, I think it really shows what Blake might have been her motive a little bit here, because that's a really big statement to say, and for it to come out like with everything that's
It's
going
bad.
on,
It's
it's
really
not
bad
good.
because if you have a project and then you hire someone for it, you're like, hey, I hired you to be an actress. I didn't hire you to be an executive producer. So like back the hell off and just do what you were hired for. And she is saying she has done this numerous times. She wants more control and she kind of like fakes them into thinking that she's just going to be an actress and she can't hold back. So I think this looks really bad for her.
It looks
Really, really
very
bad.
bad for them. So that's Point Baldoni. Now, what's going on, Dax, with this Blake Lively? She's asking for Baldoni's phone records regarding the Schmear campaign. Uh, Explain
Yeah,
to
so
me. She wants all these phone records and why
she
and
wants
how. Yeah.
yeah, so she wants to go through Justin Baldoni's phone is basically what it comes down to, and she's fired off a legal demand to get it done in the smear campaign. Blake's attorneys have sent subpoenas to 3 phone carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. These were all companies that were used by Justin, his publicists, and anyone else that was connected to him for the This Is End crisis. And so she wants to go through all the phone records. She feels that even though he put up this website that was supposedly, putting out all the information, she's like, no, there's still more that they didn't release, and that really proves that it was a smear campaign against her, saying stuff like, we're going to expose people and we're going to destroy and bury Blake. At this point, though, even if they did say that, does it change your opinion at this point? Like,
here's my one question. Lively's attorneys says the subpoenas were first reported by Variety, were seek to expose the people, tactics, and methods that have worked to destroy and bury Blake's reputation family over the past year. Now, they were first reported by Variety, the subpoenas.
mm-hmm.
Are Lively's team using, again, a media or a site and saying, like, hey, we'll give you the exclusive. You just need to kind of put that story in a little bit favored in our way?
Yeah.
So my question is when a story is first reported like this by only one outlet, it had to have been leaked to an outlet that they trust and they want to control the narrative just a little bit. So is that a smear campaign? It's a loose.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel at this point, who cares if it was a smear campaign? I feel like that ship sailed, right? Like, yeah, I don't think people care anymore if it was a smear campaign, because the other things that she's accused of doing seem worse at this point.
Yeah, I mean, her side saying that even though you did the website, the lawsuitinfo.com, vowing to reveal all the documents related to this legal war, you didn't necessarily do everything. So there's still more receipts. So yeah, man, this is just nasty. This is just nasty.
Away. I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
You're over it,
I know I have to, but like, I don't want to keep talking about
you
it.
aren't, but people are so onto this, and it's weird. Like, I don't think we've necessarily picked a side on this, because I don't care. Like, I'm not picking a side. I don't care. I'm just sitting back with popcorn.
I'm definitely more on Baldini's side than I used to be. Like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, like, or Baldoni. I mean, I said Baldini. Baldoni's side. Yeah, I think at the beginning I was like, oh, this seems like she got a bad rap. And then now it's like, yeah, she seems like she's a serial pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably leaning more to the belt. I'm not picking a side. If I had to pick, if you're putting, if you force me to it, I'd probably lean to more Baldoni's side. It's just that in my gut, you want to believe women, and when it comes to this stuff. And unfortunately, not everything is honest, and that's what we're maybe seeing, and it's just tough to swallow that. But people love it, and people like to come after us for kind of speaking about it. It's crazy the amount of shit we get for just talking about this side.
It doesn't matter. The thing is, people have the picture in their head, and it doesn't matter what you say. You're going to piss off someone.
Yeah, Dax, number 2.
Oh, the Bachelorette is going to be skipping a season, and it's unlikely to return in 2025 after the whole Gen Tran backlash that ABC got for the whole reunion. Or, it's not a reunion show. What is that? Like that? It is a reunion show, right? Where they made her basically watch back the episode where she was proposed to, they get engaged, and then the guy that she got engaged to basically right after the episode went and ghosted her, broke up with her, and you had to watch her heartbreak on national television. They aired the whole thing. And all the people that were watching were like, why the hell did you do this to this woman? Like, you made us fall in love with her on a whole season, and then you spent 3 hours just breaking her heart, watching the videos, talking to her, and it was like torturous. And so now it seems like ABC is just saying, okay, we're going to pause on doing another Bachelorette for right now. And they've done this in the past. I think they had skipped a couple of Bachelorette seasons back in the day, like back in 2006 or something. I know they've skipped some Bachelor or some Bachelor in Paradise stuff as well. So we'll see if it comes back. But people are really, really upset about
But
how they
why would
treated her.
you? And she also made a hard launch this week of her new boyfriend. Well, she's been dating him, but it's official. Her Dance with the Stars partner, Sasha. But what is the motive, Dax, in your opinion, why they would just sort of freeze and just sort of skip a season?
I think because people have a bad taste in their mouth after that one, that they're like, you really hurt this woman. You made her feel really bad, and then you did it for ratings. Like this, I think it could have been a question on the like little reunion show or whatever they call it, the final rose or whatever. But they didn't. They focused for so long and just broke her heart. And I think a lot of people were just like, that was really gross. I wouldn't support the franchise if that's what they're doing to their stars or the women that they're supposedly helping find love.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to miss it. I'm not watching the show. I haven't watched the show in a long time. Have you watched the new Bachelor at all?
No, I haven't watched the Bachelor franchise in a very long time. And I used to be a pretty big Bachelor and Bachelorette fan. Like I truly liked it years ago. And I think I've told you one season they went and like didn't choose someone off the previous season. They like got a random person. I don't know if it was Pilot Pete or someone. But they just like grabbed someone else. And it totally took me out of the franchise because I liked knowing who was going to be the Bachelor or the Bachelorette because you kind of liked them from the season before. So it dragged you into the next one. And so when they picked someone random, it like just got me out of it. I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know who this person is. Not interested to watch their storyline. And then I never got back into it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into it. I feel like it's just so forced. And then when you start seeing I saw tons of these Bachelor people in person last week at the Super Bowl. And I'll name two. I became kind of friendly with Jason Tardik, which I think he does a podcast, which kind of steers towards what he wants to do. He does more of a business type podcast, which actually is a very good podcast. So actually, I do like him. And then there's also Pete, Pilot Pete, who I've gotten to know. And I have to say, Pilot Pete's like a very sweet guy where he's like doing all the influencer stuff, but he still works. So he's like sort of like he knows he's just trying to enjoy the moment. Like I can't be mad at some guy who gets invited to a party and gets paid to do stuff, but he also has a full-time job. Like he is an active pilot. So, but there's other people. I just feel like the motives, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. A lot of people from the show, they go on the show just for fame. It is. Yeah. I mean, it's just so ridiculous and so insane that you're just on there for your own motives. And guys like us who work our asses off, but we lose gigs to those people just because they went on a dating show. Like, I'm just not willing to sell my soul. So, yeah, that's it. All right, Dax.
I would say how much?
Yeah, I don't know. Not for what they're doing. Because honestly, selling your soul, and then it's like, all right, you get a little bit of a boost, but then it's not still a proven
it's hard to say. It's hard to stay relevant after a Bachelor season anyway. Like, very few people have done it. I think Becca Tilley has obviously done a really good job. Rachel Lindsay has done a good job. There's very few people that stay. Oh, Wells Adams has done a fantastic job of like staying relevant after the series.
Well, Wells Adams, in his defense, also was like a broadcaster. He was already doing sort of radio, so he was already like a well-spoken. He was already hustling and grinding. Yeah. So he's
doesn't matter. You see a lot of people that have the same talent. I mean, it helps when you marry a super famous actress too.
Sure. Yeah, it keeps his name afloat. Dax, the number one story of the week.
Kanye West pissed off a whole lot of people this week, including myself, including Adam, including just kind of everyone. But he has now been dropped from his talent agency after his anti-Semitic rant, and they have released a statement say, effective immediately, we're done with this guy. Not surprised at all. You know, he went off on Twitter. I always want to say, I know I'm supposed to say X, but it's really hard to call that X.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went off and he did a bunch of Instagram stories as well. Just basically promoting anti-Semitism, saying Hitler was a good guy, calling himself a Nazi. And so he has now been removed from X, but I don't think it was necessarily for the anti-Semitic stuff, but he was also posting like porn. And so X ended up banning him or removing his account. And then he posted the Super Bowl. We talked about that this week, that he paid $8 million for a Super Bowl ad for Yeezys.com. But when you would go to Yeezys.com, the only thing on there was a single white t-shirt with a black swastika on it for $20. And really, yeah, I mean, to spend $8 million to push anti-Semitism is wild. Fuck you, Kanye.
Dax, let me just ask you. I couldn't stomach. I didn't go to the site because I just saw it and I couldn't stomach it. Could you actually buy the shirt?
Yeah, and I think they sold quite a few. Like, I don't know who the hell is buying a swastika shirt, but nevertheless, there's a lot of people out there that were buying it. Shopify ended up shutting down his Shopify store. So when you go there, at least when I went there yesterday, there was nothing when you would go to Yeezy.com. So, and now, sorry, I think we all started this talking about his talent agency, but Daniel McCartney and of 33 and West basically said, effective immediately, I'm no longer representing Kanye West due to his harmful and hateful remarks that myself, North 33 West and West can stand for. And he basically signed off, peace and love to all. So everyone's distancing themselves from Kanye, and it's not a surprise. You can't go out there and say this kind of shit and then expect you're going to get backed up by people. I'm surprised that he's got people running his Shopify account that'd be like, okay, you want me to post this shirt? Okay, let's do it. Like, it's just gross. Breaking news, Kanye West and his wife, Bianca Sensori, are going to get a divorce. This is a big one, guys. We're not really shocked here, I think. We've been saying this for quite some time. Bianca, blink twice if you need help. Well, she's officially blinked, guys, and it sounds like they're both have lawyered up and headed for that divorce. According to the Daily Mail, they've got a source close to them close to the rapper saying that there is deep knowledge knowing that they are both over this relationship and moving on, which is interesting because when they were at the Grammys a week ago, they were at an after party looking very lovey-dovey. While that has seemed to have faded, she did make that very controversial appearance at the Grammys, where she was basically totally naked with a little bit of see-through clothing on. A lot of people very shocked that she has kind of put up with this for as long as she has, because we've basically seen her completely naked around the world. And yeah, I don't know what this prenup, if they had one, looks like. I don't know what she's going to be walking away with from this divorce, but I can tell you there are people that were close to her that are probably very excited that this is headed towards divorce, because she looked very unhappy traveling the world with him. And I've heard she was actually a pretty cool person to be around before this. If you remember, she was a former Yeezy architect. They had a secret wedding back in like January of 2023, and then just embarked on this like world globe-trotting and whirlwind romance. So I don't think this is big shocking news that they went for divorce. I think everyone's just kind of breathing a sigh of relief that this woman gets to put her clothes back on. Anyway, wanted to make sure you guys found out about this and make sure this made the rundown.
Yeah, I think what's also kind of irks me a little bit is that the NFL, Fox didn't really speak about this situation.
They said that they were swindled too.
Yeah, but I think they should be more public about what they're doing. I think they should go out of the way and, I mean, because it's so gnarly what happened. So, yes, I understand they're swindled. I understand they were swindled. However, what are you going to do to make sure what do you do to make it right? Because it's such hurtful. It's hurtful. It's
my question is how number one, I wouldn't give Kanye West the airtime. Like, we all know he is not stable. So even if he pays $8 million, was it worth the airtime? No, I'm sure there's a bunch of other people lined up to pay a bunch of money for a Super Bowl commercial. But he essentially had showed them shoes and clothing and all these other things on Yeezy.com. And the second the commercial aired, they switched it to the swastika shirt. So they pulled the rug out from underneath Fox and the NFL. But I think it's their fault for even giving him the opportunity.
So do they, in return, should they give a lot of free exposure to anti-Semitic charities or groups and stuff?
The crazy thing was they had a couple commercials airing, which was Tom Brady and Snoop Dogg fighting anti-Semitism. They know what it's like going on in this country right now, and they were pushing the like no hate. Like we can't have this hate towards with anti-Semitic comments and rhetoric going around, and then this came out and basically took all of that wind away.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about this celebrity thing that came out this week? This AI of all these celebrities like Drake and I know. Well, it's weird.
David Schwimmer, Steven Spielberg. Like this video is going around. If you saw it, it probably hit at your timeline at some point. But it's all these celebrities wearing a white T-shirt with basically a hand with the middle finger sticking up and a Star of David in the middle, and it just basically said "fuck Kanye." But it was David Schwimmer, Steven Spielberg, Jerry Seinfeld, Adam Sandler, Sacha Baron Cohen. And it's all done by AI. It was a viral deep fake video. And Scarlett Johansson didn't love it so much. And I got to say, if you didn't put your face on you didn't want your face associated with this, I could see why people were annoyed. I don't think it makes them look bad. It makes them look like they're actually good humans, but you know what I'm saying? But you could tell it was very glossy and soft, so you could tell it was like a fake AI video.
But she was like really upset about it. She was really upset about having her face involved in this, and I do get it, but almost like part of me was like, hey, for this one, can you let it slide? Like,
I would almost be like, this is the danger of AI, that they can just fake an image or a video of you, and it convinces people. Not that I'm upset that this was the one that it was a part of, but if it was some kind of porn video or something else where people believe it's her, I could see that being very damaging to your reputation. Does this one damage your reputation? No, but
you know what? In some ways, in today's world, Dax, unfortunately, I feel like some people could get upset by it. That you're saying you're against anti-Semitism, but obviously going to the Palestine movement, people are very vocal about that, and some Jewish people just like, I'm Jewish, but I'm sitting out. I don't need to make my stance out there. I don't want to say anything. I just want to piss off anybody. Maybe because I'm just not educated enough in anything. But it's a very weird, scary time.
How well these deep fakes work, though. Like, they look pretty legit.
This one looks fake, but it was good. It was a good job. But
I'm just saying, like, it looks like David Schwimmer. It looks like a younger version of David Schwimmer. It looks like a younger version of Steven Spielberg, stuff like that. But nevertheless, I mean, pretty accurate.
Yeah. All right. That is the Raw Rundown, the top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. That really helps us out. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're on it all. Hollywood Raw Pod. Check out our private Facebook group, Hollywood Raw. What's it? No, it's called Off the Record. That's her private. Follow me at Adam Glyn, Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.